I want to know what happened with this Tory Lanez situations. I heard a lot of perspectives. I'm going to see what 1090 Jake got to say, man. Let me know where you from in the comments, and let me know what you feel about this Tory Lanez situation, and let's get right into it.
Man, what's up, everybody? It's 1090 Jake. I'm rocking with y'all, and y'all rocking with me. And for this video, we're going to be speaking on Tory Lanez getting stabbed inside a prison and the man who did it. May 12th, 2025. Located north of Los Angeles lies the California Correctional Institution in Tehachapi, California. In 2021, the prison closed its minimum custody facility, meaning its 2,600 inmates were level 3 or level 4. These are the most dangerous levels in California State Prison, where race, gangs, and strict politics are enforced with deadly consequence. The only step above this would be the maximum security inmates housed within the security housing unit, otherwise known as the SHU. A disciplinary confinement reserved for the prison's most violent, whose only escape from a cell.
So hold on, man. They got this guy Tory Lanez in a place called the SHU. He about 5'2" in the SHU, boy. But I've been hearing some reports, they saying that his money got him up in there flexing on people and he putting hits on people.
Is a human dog cage. It was 7:20 in the morning when 32-year-old Daystar Peterson, who's more commonly known as the rapper Tory Lanez, was violently attacked. TMZ would originally report multiple sources, including a corrections officer, claimed Tory was on the prison yard. But an updated report from a representative of the California Department of Corrections would clarify Tory was attacked within a housing unit.
Oh, they lied, y'all. See? Now, I am going to tell y'all something. Just because you are a celebrity do not mean that you're exempt from what goes on in jails. Another thing is sometimes people get comfortable and forget that they are a celebrity and think, oh, I'm in here, I'm a run. Nah, I wouldn't think that mentality in California. That's just not a way to go. If anybody ever been in there, they will let you know that's not the way to go about things, Tory.
Prison staff rushed into the unit administering first aid while quickly determining Tory suffered life-threatening injuries, forcing them to call 911. Video would emerge of who's believed to be Tory Lanez landing in a life flight helicopter at Kern Medical Center in Bakersfield, California, an hour-long drive from the prison. With that distance, a helicopter was the only form of transportation able to move him fast enough to save his life. A message to Tory Lanez's Instagram account would state he'd been stabbed 14 times, 7 wounds to his back, 4 to his torso, 2 to the back of his head, and 1 to the left side of his face. Both of his lungs collapsed, and he had to be placed on a breathing apparatus. Luckily, Tory was breathing on his own, and despite the pain was talking normally, in good spirits, and deeply thankful to God that he is pulling through. He also wanted to thank everyone for their continued prayers and support. Based on his wounds, it can be assumed.
Yo, these rappers be so gangster when something happens to them, bruh. They got somebody that could put up a little text. Normal people get poked and can't put up an IG, but not Lil Tory.
Tory was attacked from behind, as the majority of his wounds struck his back and behind his head.
Wow.
Initially, no word was released as to who did it, leaving room for speculation. Because this took place in California, the only time someone is stabbed and it doesn't result in a race riot is if they are stabbed by their own race. But that isn't the case here. Compton rapper Spider Loc would post a conversation with a current inmate at Tehachapi. The man would claim Tory was on a tier full of Mexicans when a Mexican stabbed Tory. He'd confirmed Tory had to be airlifted from the prison, and the prison was placed on lockdown. He'd also confirmed, as soon as the lockdown is lifted, the blacks will be seeking revenge on the Mexicans.
Hey, yo, hold on, 1090 Jake. Don't be calling black people blacks, man. Don't call them blacks, man. What y'all think about that? Blacks? That sound a little, you know. Don't do that.
What's Gucci?
What's cracking?
What it do, fine?
Calling us blacks.
Shit, nothing much to look, right? This morning, brother, the Mexican out and bust on the boy Tory. they airlifted them and all that. So how that's gonna respond when we come off this shit. We're gonna respond the right way to that.
They laid the yard down?
No, it happened in the building.
What was it over? It was over some. What he had did he have a debt, a gambling debt or something?
Nah, nothing like that. Shit, we don't even really know. We don't even know the whole situation,
So it was just like some foul play. So it's finna be up.
Yeah, it's for sure with some foul play.
Damn, cuz. Wasn't nobody right there with him when it happened? Wasn't nobody right there with him when it went down?
Yeah, I guess nobody wasn't. He was by himself out there. He got a whole tier full of necks. He on a whole tier full of necks.
Wow.
But you already know, once we get on this shit, we press some play on. We press play.
Wow.
I'm already knowing. God damn.
Tehachapi has a known reputation for being SNY, otherwise known as a special needs yard. These yards are known to house gang dropouts, snitches, sex offenders, and anyone else whose life is threatened by being in general population. But California has also recently implemented 50-50 yards, half general population, half SNY, to integrate the two prison societies. This goes against strict prison gang politics, mainly for the Mexicans and whites who are allegedly forced to attack any rival or SNY inmate to essentially remove themselves from the yard until they are placed back in general population amongst the quote-unquote honorable convicts.
Yo, that's crazy.
While general population is deadly, it's controlled chaos. And SNY yards can be just as dangerous, if not worse, as the gang politics that keep things in line go out the window and violence becomes rampant. It's unclear if Tory was in fact SNY, as that comes with its own bad reputation within prison, but it's likely Tory was placed on a 50-50 yard and his politics didn't require him to remove himself.
Yo, why he ain't get that shaved off while he was in there though? 'Cause I don't know why he still got that on his head.
Now, Tory's attacker would be identified as 42-year-old Santino Casio, a man with a dark violent history. On June 8th, 2022, a then 20-year-old Santino, who went by the name Sonny, was heard arguing with his 13-year-old girlfriend.
Wow.
Minutes later, she was shot in the face with a shotgun. Santino would go on the run for 2 weeks before being arrested. His own family would testify against him in court, how they heard the argument before the blast.
That's crazy.
A coroner would testify the barrel must have been 4 inches away from the girl's face before it went off. An interview from the day he was arrested would be played at trial where Santino admitted to having a relationship with the 13-year-old girl for a month before the shooting. The girl was a runaway, while Santino was on parole from the California Youth Authority for burglary. In 2004, Santino would be sentenced to life in prison for murdering 13-year-old Evelyn Candejas and 2 other attempted murders from 2 separate stabbings. While in prison, he'd be sentenced to an additional 6 years for a prison stabbing on another inmate, and in 2018, he was sentenced to an additional 2 years for possessing a knife in prison.
What? That's
Santino Casio was as dangerous as they come, but his conviction for murdering a 13-year-old girl he'd been dating confirms he was definitely an SNY inmate, as he'd never be allowed to walk in general population without being.
Bro, they giving that man 2 years and 3 years for poking people, bro. That's why he don't care.
Stabbed or killed.
He got life.
Why he chose to attack Tory Lanez is unknown. Many questioned if Tory was targeted because of his own conviction for allegedly shooting his former friend Megan Thee Stallion. The fact that he had a female victim, many would assume would be reason enough for him to be hit. But Santino's case is far worse than Tory's could ever be portrayed, and offers no motive as to why this happened. Tory Lanez is expected to survive, and it can also be expected that Santino be placed in the shoe and receive additional time in prison for this attack. But what is more time to someone who's already serving a lifetime? A superstar rapper once on top of the world, now surrounded by killers with nothing to lose because of a stupid decision that changed the entire course of his life. Tory is lucky to have survived this, and hopefully remains lucky enough to survive the remaining years of his 10-year prison sentence.
For real.
Now,
the reality of this whole situation is they did a press conference today. You know, if y'all want me to talk about that press conference on a different piece of content, all you're going to do is just write press in the comments or press conference or something. And, you know, it's going to give us some more information that they saying might actually let him get free. The fact that this happened to him, I'm just going to say he's no exempt from anybody else that's in the situation. He's not the only person that's housed in these type of, you know, places and, you know, treated the same way. So I don't want to act like he's supposed to get special treatment. What I am going to say is, how could a person end up on a place where it's 50-50 on the thing? That's crazy. That 50-50 thing is insane. Now, when you on a place with somebody that has life and they know they're going to get an extra 2 years for life, it's pretty much easy for them to do whatever they want to do. Now, I want to know y'all view. This is the whole situation. This is exactly who did it, how it went down. All right? Make sure y'all subscribe, hit the top bell, and I'll see you on the next one. I'm out of here.